keep your eyes out on Mumbai Falcon.
Some interesting stuff coming up. Look forward to racing to the future.
Well, round 3, race 1. The time has arrived. My name is Ridhima Pathak, live from, of course, the Dubai Autodrome circuit. And what can I say? The temperatures are soaring, the racing cars are roaring. It's time for the third triple header of the series to kick off. It is a 2022 Formula Regional Asian Championship alongside Jake Santon. Jake, of course, you've got Sebastian Montoya on pole position. Also, this is his last weekend here in the championship, so he definitely wants to end this on a high note.
Oh, absolutely, and he's done it in the best possible way. You know, the first part of the weekend is always to make sure you get qualifying right, and to start the first race of the weekend from pole position, and then to back that up with a top 5 on the grid for race 3. He's in a really good position. He won't worry too much about what the victory will mean in terms of a reverse grid tomorrow. He wants to bow out of this championship on his terms, and if he can pick up a second victory this weekend, then he'll have conquered both racetracks on the calendar.
That's right. What would a second victory in this championship mean for him, though?
I think it means he's able to diversify. You know, it's one thing to win a race on one circuit and to master one track, but this is a very different race circuit for many different reasons. The tarmac is different, the weather is different, with crosswinds bringing the sand over the circuit. This track is changeable lap to lap. So it actually means you need to be a little bit more diverse when you're out there on the circuit. So obviously it's very important to make sure that you have a handle on the circuit as you go. So winning here, it proves that Sebastian Montoya isn't a one-trick pony. He can win anywhere.
That's right. Well, we'll continue talking about Sebastian Montoya, but the previous week, of course, on the weekend, we had Hadron David being lightning bolt. More on from these videos.
I knew the base was strong already from free practice and qualifying. We were quite competitive, and I knew that the race pace was even stronger than that. We saw it in Abu Dhabi, starting from the back of the grid. We were always fastest lap. So, yeah, my target was to overtake Sebastian as fast as possible, but he was defending quite well.
it was a good race. I mean, I did a good start. Then after I was fighting with Pierre-Louis, that was a bit faster than me, I think. So we need to find a bit more pace in race, but we were expecting to stay behind the car. So we settled the car in a different way. But no, it was quite good. I'm happy with the results. We fight quite hard.
It was the longest race of my life, I think, because it was much faster and I had to defend. This is racing, so yeah, he didn't manage to overtake me, so I'm quite happy with the race. We just need to understand why we were lacking pace compared to this morning and yesterday.
Well, that was the last weekend. Now it is a new weekend, it's a new track and 4 new drivers. There is so much to talk about. As we know, the Sebastian Montoya has already taken pole position after winning the qualifying one. And here we are back with Jack. Well, take me through what are the most toughest points in the track?
Well, it's very different from last week. Now that we're on the Grand Prix circuit, the 5.39 kilometre layout, the first sector is very, very challenging in terms of tyre life, because the faster you're going through those sweepers, through the left, the right, the left, the right, you're putting a lot of pressure and a lot of hard work on the tyres. They're going to grain much faster in the first sector than any other part of the circuit. Plus, in the middle section, at the end of the back straight, you're going from full on the throttle to the slowest corner on the circuit. It's going to be really easy for the drivers to lock up the tyres. Management of those carcasses is going to be so crucial, and they'll actually find it harder this weekend than they did last.
That's right. Now, if I had to ask you, Jay, because you've been commentating since the morning, and of course all the races that we've had so far, but in this particular one, who do you think are the drivers who are finally getting a handle on their cars?
This is a really good question. The Red Bull boys are really starting to put a pressure now on the Mumbai Falcons drivers, which is exactly what they needed to do. You've got Isaac Ajar and Jack Crawford now really starting to make a pressure on the lead of the race, and both of them want to take their first win. The one I was most surprised by was Leonardo Fornaroli. He's just come completely out of the blocks and come up to 4th position. So he's really taken the mantle with high-tech, and he and Isaac seem to be doing a 2-man battle up at the front end. Nice to see on in the top 6. He's deserved to be there all year, and he's finally got things together. So this could be a weekend where we see him battling from the front.
That's right, but also we've got the Colombian sensation right on the top. This is what the man had to say right before the race. Well, the Colombian sensation is back at pole position, and the last time you were on pole position, Sebastian, you won the race. What do you reckon for this one?
Yeah, to be honest, in Yas I was on pole and I won. Last week I was on pole again and I finished on the podium, and then this week with the pace we've had and then how hard we've worked, another win wouldn't be disappointing.
That's right. How tough was it out there? Because it's a longer circuit and of course the weather is hot. So what are the kind of challenges that you're facing on the track?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a lot more challenging than what I'm used to. It was really hard because you really had to get everything right. With these hot conditions, it's really easy to overheat the tire. So it's just kind of managing, like at the end of my second lap when I pulled it, it was just really like on the limit, just make sure I complete the lap, and honestly, it was incredible. Like the team did a really good job and the car was really good to drive.
Perfect. I'm sure everybody is looking at you with a lot of hopeful eyes from the Mumbai Falcons. But very quickly, we've had a word on the tyre regulations by Alistair. What do you make of it for this particular championship?
Yeah, to be honest, the tires are quite good. Sometimes they're weird, but we've understood them a lot better now. And honestly, it's a really good tire. There's a specific way that you have to warm it up, so that's quite good because you have to learn different ways to work the tire. And honestly, it's been a really good learning experience.
Perfect. All the best, and go ahead and win.
Thank you.
All right, I've got with me Jack Crawford on P3. Jack, what do you reckon of the competitors and the drivers right in front of you, the top two?
Yeah, they're both quick, so yeah, it will be an interesting race for sure. And you know, the goal is to win the race, so hopefully I can do that. So.
Is there anything that you'd like to tell the viewers right before the race?
I hope you see me on the P1.
Well, I wish you all the best out there, Jack. Well, you see, there is definitely a lot of drive right here in this particular race. It's a race one of round 3. And, you know, Dale Earnhardt just once said that you don't win by fast cars. You win when you refuse to lose. Which one will it be? Lights on, it's game time.
Thank you, Ridhima. It's been a very interesting build up to this one. The first race of 3 this weekend at the Dubai Autodrome circuit on the Grand Prix configuration. And the sun is fading fast here at Dubai Autodrome, which means that it's going to be a very interesting race in terms of tyre strategy. It'll be a tough battle for them all as they quest for the victory. We could see a completely new winner, or we could see Sebastian Montoya in very much the same fighting form that we saw from him earlier in the season. It is definitely going to be very, very tight, that is for sure. But what we will see from the cars here is a very different race battle. Let's talk over the track map for this circuit, because it is, of course, the Grand Prix configuration for the circuit. So the Grand Prix circuit is obviously the 5.32 kilometer version of the circuit. It is the longest configuration of the Dubai Autodrome. A very different circuit compared to what we saw last week. Last week we had the Dubai Autodrome International configuration, which featured a run to the first corner, followed by a sweeping two-part corner. Now you see as they go through turn 2, they don't turn right, they turn left and carry on sweeping through 3 to the right, continuing through 4 and through 5. But you're keeping a lot of speed through that particular part of the course. Through 6, you have to blip the throttle and blend it as you come through. Then a tight braking zone while still turning into 7. You've got to be so careful to look after the brakes and tyres at this part of the course. Otherwise, the back end will snap. We saw Dynamite Dino Beganovic doing this in qualifying. Up to 8, again, you've got to try and pitch the car in through the inside line and then be very smooth out of 9 because you build up the speed. Then you're on the throttle of the back straight, building, and up towards turn 10 into the hairpin. You've got to keep tight and very, very present through the apex as it changes in camber. You're going from the fastest point on the circuit to the slowest point on the circuit. Up through 11, you're accelerating through and you try and keep the car present through the left-hander. Another big stop into 12, the right-hand hairpin. Then you come back out, trying not to balance on the curbs too much because that can unsettle the rear of the car. You're back on the throttle. You're keeping it steady through 13, trying to position the car over to the right before the turn 14 hairpin. This is one of the toughest corners on the circuit because not only is it 180 degrees left-hander, but it changes in camber and elevation mid-corner. So in the inside line, you can get presence in the first part, but in the second part, as the road climbs, the back end starts to snap out. So you've got to be so careful to blend the car and balance it as you come through. Then into 15, right-hander. Some drivers will try a cheeky overtake if 14 has gone wrong, and that's where you can really fight the driver, but try not to ease too much onto the inside apex, because that tyre carcass is always trying to shred a few more chunks of rubber. Then into 16, the final corner. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but you need to get the exit absolutely planted. The slow in, fast out approach is always best, and onto that home straight once again. 5.32 kilometers around the Dubai Autodrome circuit. It is a tough one. Let's have a look at the championship standings as we come into the circuit. Arthur Leclerc is currently leading from Hadrian David, but he is absent, so the new second place man effectively becomes Isaac Hajar. The gap between him and Leclerc is 12 points. Gabriele Mini is absent too, so the next man in becomes Pepe Marti on 54 points. Sebastian Montoya has 53. Dynamite Dino, young Beganovic, has 48. Gabriel Bortoletto is absent too. He has 46. Jack Crawford does as well. And Lorenzo Flusha is in the top 10, along with Leonardo Fornaroli, who could score big this weekend from 5th position on the starting grid. Then Josh Dufek, another rookie from Frederick Lubin. Chauvet has 9. Aaron has 7. Dilana Van Toff has 6. Leventa Revej has 2. And Amna Al-Kubaisi has the point she picked up from Yas Marina. And we celebrate the birthday boy, Paul Aron, who turned 18 yesterday. And the Abu Dhabi Racing by PREMA driver had a wonderful birthday ceremony in the PREMA garage yesterday. And I wonder if he'll be able to take home some silverware on the way back to Estonia. Let's talk you through the starting grid of what promises to be an absolute thriller of a race. The first race of 3 this weekend in the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Pole position goes to the Colombian Sebastian Montoya. He will lead them off the grid from the 2 Red Bull young guns of Isaac Hajar and Jack Crawford. Fourth on the grid, a bit of a surprise for Leonardo Fornaroli, but he's going to maximise that from the second row of the grid. Paul Aron, the Estonian, will line up alongside the Swedish driver Dino Beganovic for the Mumbai Falcons. Pepe Marti, the leading rookie in the championship so far, 7th position on the starting grid alongside the championship leader Arthur Leclerc, the younger brother of Ferrari Formula 1 star Charles Leclerc and a member of the Ferrari Drivers Academy. Delano Van Toff, who qualified pole position for race 3 tomorrow, he lines up 9th on the grid for this one alongside the Spanish charge Lorenzo Flucha, who is going to be there for the 3Y technology by Race GP team, I should say. Then the 2 returnees, Pierre-Louis Chauvet and Patrick Pasma, both race winners last year. They're going to share the 6th row of the grid together. 13th is Michael Belov, another returning driver who hasn't raced in Formula Regional Asia since it was called F3 Asia back in 2020. Then it is Nicola Maranangeli alongside him on the grid. Oliver Goethe is back in the hunt once again alongside Francesco Braschi, another of the new faces this weekend. Then Joshua Dufek, who was running in the top 10 for the majority of last weekend. He'll fight his way back to prominence and did a great job in qualifying for race 3, so don't expect him to be down at the back for too long this weekend. He's alongside his new teammate Owen Tanjavoğlu, the Frenchman who is there in 18th position. Hamda Al-Kubaisi, the leading member of the Al-Kubaisi family this weekend, is 19th on the grid alongside Hungary's Levent Ravesh. And then Ayato Iwasaki of the Philippines is 21st on the grid alongside Frederick Lubin of Great Britain. And then it is the Al-Kubaisi daughter and father combo of Amna Al-Kubaisi and Khaled Al-Kubaisi, who is the leading driver in the Masters category. David Morales of the United States, Sally Yaluch and Thomas Luedi taking up his position at the back of the grid. So 27 cars in position. They all want to be at the sharp end of the dais, and it is going to be a very exciting and very contentious race battle. We could well see a 6th different race winner. What an absolutely sensational battle. But an absolutely terrific battle is on the way. This is the main event as far as the drivers and fans of single-seaters are concerned. This is the big show, and they all want to be up at the sharp end. What a battle this is set to be. We're going to have a magnificent race on our hands here as the drivers are questing and set for glory as we battle in the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Race 1 of 3 this weekend in round 3 of the championship. So it will be a sensational scrap as we battle away on the Dubai Autodrome circuit. Can Sebastian Montoya take a 2nd race win of the season, or will it be a first time on the top step of the podium for a 6th different race winner this season? Can it be Isaac Hajar? Can it be Jack Crawford? Could it even be Leonardo Fornaroli, who has yet to score a podium this season? All sorts of question marks dawn as we get ourselves ready for the 3rd weekend of the season to get underway with race 1. I'm Jake Sanson. I'll talk you through the entirety of the action lap by lap. And boy, are you in for a show. Sebastian Montoya on the right of your screen. Isaac Hajar on the left of your screen. The lights come on. We go out racing now. Terrific start from Isaac Hajar. Not a great one from Sebastian Montoya. There's a couple of cars left on the grid, but Montoya's going to have his work cut out, holding Isaac Hajar through to the first corner. They go down the straight together. Leonardo Fornaroli's got a flyer too. He's up to 3rd position. Hajar will hold it on the inside, but round the outside, Sebastian Montoya holds the lead. Terrific work from the Colombian. And here comes Fornaroli. He wants to take on Isaac Hajar. So far, Montoya has got the lead. Hajar wants him back. But the Colombian is going to hold station. The Mumbai Falcons driver has kept it on the straight and narrow with a good start. Not the best of starts, but certainly he reacted to turn 2 and turn 1 very well indeed. He is keeping Isaac Hajar at bay as the field tries to squirrel its way onto the first part of the course in the Grand Prix circuit. Hajar makes his beat on the inside of Montoya. Have they been able to get through without a little bit of incident? Yes, they have. So Montoya desperately trying to break the toe from Isaac Hajar up in the air. One of the pinnacles running over the curbs. I think that might have been Delano Van Toff. But here they come down to the braking zone. Here comes Isaac Hajar. Montoya holds the middle of the circuit. Hajar's trying to go either way to try and outfox the Colombian. But so far, Sebastian Montoya holds on to the lead battle. Out of the hairpin. Little bit of wheel banging, tiny bit of paint traded, but everything seems to be hunky-dory as everybody gets through. Hajar's going to make a late bid on Montoya. He thinks better of it. That was a very late decision there from Isaac Hajar. He thought he could outfox Montoya, but Montoya is no slouch. He is not going to be caught with his pants down. Excellent work from the Colombian so far. He leads the battle here from Isaac Hajar and Leonardo Fornaroli. Good start too from Paul Aron, the birthday boy yesterday. The Estonian is now right up in P4 in the Abu Dhabi PREMA. Or at least he was. He is in 5th position now because that's the fast starting Arthur Leclerc who has come through into 4th position. A mistake from Fornaroli as the high-tech drifts out wide, and that could be a chance for Arthur Leclerc to move up into 3rd position as they come off the turn. And Dino Beganovic has made a good start as well. He's up in 6th. So Montoya, Hajar, Fornaroli. It is actually Beganovic in 4th, then Aron, then Leclerc. Great battle between the Evans cars further back. That is Chauvet battling away as they come through the straight. I think that was Pasma trying to move his way up through the order as well there. So some good battles nice and early. I think that was Marinangeli and Belov having a nice little scrap for position. 11th and 12th places, the two Evans GP teammates up to turn 1. But Montoya holds the advantage. Hajar in 2nd place. Fornaroli is still 3rd, but Beganovic is all over the back of him. Then Aron, Leclerc, Marti, Vanthoff, Flusha, Chauvet, Marinangeli and Belov. Then Dufek is up to 13th. Great start from the Swiss. Oliver Goethe and Patrick Pasma, who has dropped to 15th place. And then Jack Crawford. What a miserable start for him. He was 3rd on the grid, and now he is all the way back in 16th position. Not where the American wanted to be at all. So Montoya just settling into the rhythm now on the 2nd lap. This is a considerably long lap around the circuit, 5.32 kilometers, longer than most Grand Prix circuits in Formula 1. So they're definitely going to have to work hard here to maintain their focus and keep the rhythm of the car very present out on the course. It's a tough racetrack, this one, very different to what we saw even from the international circuit last week. The tyres are working harder, the cars are working harder. From their point of view, it's nice to be racing at this time of the evening because the tyres are going to be worked a little bit less than they would do at the height of the afternoon. The sun is setting and there are shadows being cast around the circuit, but that causes its own issues for the drivers. The glare of the sun, if it catches your visor at the wrong angle, then you can get distracted. We had an issue in the F4 UAE Championship race earlier on when the drivers didn't realise that the safety car boards were out because they were too busy racing and they couldn't see the yellow flags being waved, and it cost Luke Browning a penalty, which ended up costing him 2nd place. So hopefully that's not going to be a problem in the Formula Regional Asian race. Montoya leads, Hajar 2nd, Fornaroli's 3rd, Beganovic is 4th, and he's under pressure from the birthday boy, Paul Aron. 6th place for Arthur Leclerc, and then Marti, Vanthoff, Flusha, Chauvet, Belov and Marinangeli. Dufek is doing a good job there in 13th place in the high-tech, and then it is Oliver Goethe in front of Jack Crawford, who has moved his way past Patrick Pasma. And then we have Fred Lubin in front of Francesco Braschi, Levi Revej, Ayato Iwasaki, and then Hamder Al-Kubaisi is in front of Khaled, David Morales in front of Owen Tanjavelu, and then Amna Al-Kubaisi is currently running in 25th position in front of Thomas Luedi and Sally Yaluch. So a big lock up there from one of the pinnacles. I think that was Pepe Marti just locking up, but he's got his teammate Delano Vanthoff for company. So Montoya leading from Hajar, Fornaroli, Beganovic, Aron and Arthur Leclerc. So let's have a look back over the race start. I kind of want to see what happened to Crawford because he lost a lot of places off the start. So let's go back and have a look at it. So Sebastian Montoya did not actually get the best of starts. You can see there he's really struggling. And where's Crawford? Crawford has actually started going backwards quite early on in the Red Bull. He's right down at the back of the field and ended up going pretty much last on the way through. But Montoya around the outside of Hajar, that was really bold and very brave from the Colombian. He realised that there was going to be some grip around the outside and he could set himself up nicely for 2 and 3. And that was very well read by Montoya. Back to live pictures once again. And Sebastian Montoya holds 9/10 of a second on Isaac Hajar. Not a lot has changed since that opening lap. Beganovic is under pressure from Paul Aron. That's about as tight as it gets. Leonardo Fornaroli is trying to keep up with Isaac Hajar, but Fornaroli would quite be happy settling for 3rd position, in all honesty. In terms of the title fight, this is great news for us because Isaac Hajar is running 2nd and Arthur Leclerc is running in 6th, so that definitely tightens up the gap in the battle for the title fight. But for Mumbai Falcons, this is exactly what they wanted. A race leader is one of their cars, and the other 2 cars are within the top 6, so anything can still happen from their point of view. So Sebastian Montoya wants to continue his trend as one of the fastest rookies in the sport as he continues to battle away out in front. Isaac Ajar second, Leo Fornaroli is third from Beganovic, Aron, Leclerc, Marti, Vanthof, Flusha, Chauvet and Michael Beloff. Some good racing so far. But this man, Dino Beganovic, is trying to shake off Paul Aron. There is the championship leader, Arthur Leclerc. And Lorenzo Flusha is making some big impact on this race in the 3-wide car. He is all over the back of Pepe Marti and Delano Vanthof. So Lorenzo Flusha actually going very well here. The Spanish driver down the back straight, looking for a way to get past Vanthof. As here comes Paul Aron. He's actually having a think about Dino Beganovic, but Beganovic won't fall for that one. That was far too tame a maneuver. He's not going to roll over and play dead in the apex. So nicely done for Dino Beganovic. Paul Aron is thwarted on that occasion. Down to the braking zone for 12. Just taking it nice and easy. You don't want to push the car too hard in the early stages. I have to say, this is the cleanest start to a race that we've had so far this year. There's usually been 1 or 2 incidents on the opening 2 or 3 laps, but so far everybody's kept it very, very sensible in this opening lap. It's worth remembering in these races that race 1, if you are driving too aggressively in race 1, then you're going to have a terrible second and third races, even if you've got the overnight preparation, because you're always going to be on the back foot. So the drivers come out of the hip. Whoa, that was a bit of a moment for Flusha as he got a little bit sideways but manages to collect it. They come back onto the start-finish straight. And Montoya has increased the gap to Hajar by 1.4 seconds. This is his time. This is his moment. He knows he's got a great chance to disappear and hide from the rest of the field. Now, Fornaroli doing a great job here in third position. He's only made one slight error in the first 4 laps, but he's managed to gather it up before he lost the place. Leclerc, Marti and Vanthof. Those 3 are on your screen at the moment as they battle away for 6th position. This is great news for Hajar. It's not so great for Arthur Leclerc because he is currently the 3rd of the Mumbai Falcons cars and he is going to score the fewest points of the drivers in that mix. If Hajar finishes 2nd, he takes home 18 points in the championship standings. And if Leclerc crosses the line in 6th position, he only takes 8, which means that Hajar will gain 10 points on him over the course of the race. And that means the gap will come down from 12 points between them to just 2 going into tomorrow. So the fight between Hajar and Leclerc in terms of the title battle really will be raging heading into race 2 tomorrow. So Arthur Leclerc could really do with making a place or 2 on his teammate Dino Beganovic and his battler there in front of him, Paul Aron, the Estonian. Excellent stuff so far. This is a really close battle, a really tense fight, and it's only going to get more tense as the race plays out. They are trying desperately to manage their tyres. You've got to remember there are only 3 sets of tyres through the course of the weekend that they can use, and that starts from free practice. So they've got to look after all 3 sets of tyres that they have on each car throughout the entirety of the 4 days of the race weekend. So all of these tyres will be worn by the time they take to the start, unless drivers are prepared to sacrifice a decent qualifying position in order to keep a fresh set of tyres handy. But that is a double-edged sword. Leonardo Fornaroli, you can see the high-tech. The back end of the car is just starting to slide a little bit, and that's because he is pushing very hard on the exit of corners. The wheels are spinning. He's desperately trying to get traction, and he's got pressure from the guys behind. So Leonardo Fornaroli starting to feel the heat a little bit from Beganovic, Aron and Leclerc behind him. And you can see that a train is starting to form on the main straight behind Fornaroli. They used to, rather unfairly in motor racing, call this the Trulli train, because it was always coined after the Italian racing driver Jarno Trulli. I always felt that was a little bit unfair, really, because I've known many a driver do so, not just one particular character. But certainly for Leonardo Fornaroli, he is the cork in the bottle at the moment, and there's an awful lot of bubbles behind him trying to bubble over. So Beganovic all over the back of Leonardo Fornaroli. Aron is 5th, Leclerc in 6th, Marti, Vanthof, Flusha, Chauvet. Look at the tension with Oliver Oakes and the rest of the high-tech team watching on the pit wall. Their man is running 2nd, and their other man is running 3rd. So this is going to be a big haul of points for high-tech if it stays like this. But Fornaroli under massive pressure. Here we go. Aron is defending. He can sense that Arthur Leclerc is going to threaten on the way down the hairpin. Leclerc is going to go the long way round. We've seen moves made the long way round, but Aron covers it on the exit. Well read by Paul Aron. That could have been a pushover move from Arthur Leclerc, but Paul Aron makes sure that he keeps the Monegasque guessing as they go through the apex of 10. And again through 12, he just backs him into a corner. He's trying to edge Leclerc into the path of Marty, Van't Hoff and Flusha, because that's where danger lies for him and comfort lies for Paul Aron. So Montoya, Hajar, Fornaroli and Beganovic down to the braking zone for 14. It's an uphill curve, that left-hander. You've got to be so careful when you balance the car, because otherwise the back end of the turn wants to spit you out. So through they come. It's a very settled... Oh, big squirrel of a moment there from Delano Van't Hoff. How on earth did he save that? That car was dancing with death on the tightrope of the curbs, and he somehow caught it. Dear, oh dear, Delano Van't Hoff. That is as close as you can get to spinning off without actually doing so. Dear, oh dear. Good catch, though. Delano Van't Hoff somehow managed to hold that together on the exit. Any other driver would probably have thrown that away, but Delano Van't Hoff was very quick to react to it and somehow saved his race and saved his bacon. So fabulous stuff so far from the competitors. But it's going to be a very interesting battle so far. Montoya, Hajar, Fornaroli, Beganovic, Aron and Arthur Leclerc from Pepe Marti, Delano Van't Hoff, Lorenzo Flusha and Pierre-Louis Chauvet. Here is your man in 6th place, Arthur Leclerc. That's the Mumbai Falcons crew. Just taking it nice and easy. They don't want to stress out yet. They've still got Montoya out in front. Beganovic is looking very neat and tidy in 4th behind Fornaroli. He's playing the long game here by the look of it. The Swede wants to put massive pressure. Aron is swarming around as Arthur Leclerc is keeping him guessing at the moment. Aron tries to hold off 5th position. See, Paul Aron is really in a tough situation now as he continues to give himself a little bit of breathing space. What a sensational scrap this is so far. Montoya, Hajar, Fornaroli, Beganovic, Aron, Leclerc. The top 6 unchanged since the first lap. Time is still ticking, and we are approaching half distance. Evans GP looking a little bit nervous as well, because their men are not far away from the top 10. If Michael Belov can make up one more place on Pierre-Louis Chauvet, then he will take pole position for the start of race 2. So the Evans GP crew could really do with their man Michael Belov moving up into 10th place. Because let's not forget that the finishing results of this race will set the grid for race 2 with the top 10 positions reversed. So if it stays like this, Montoya will have to start from P10, but he will take a victory, of course, today. And the guy who is likely to start from pole position in race 2 is going to be Pierre-Louis Chauvet. So that could be very interesting. We'll have to figure out if he can hold on to it, because he's got big pressure from Michael Belov behind him. So the battle for 10th position is actually critical, because 10th position in this race gives you pole position for the start of racing tomorrow. And they are going to squabble over it! A big run into turn 1. That is Marinangeli having to fend off his opponents. It's getting a little bit tight out there. That's Fred Lubin, I think, trying to shake off Iwasaki and Revej. And that's Josh Dufek in the mix there as well. So Dufek has managed to hold off Lubin, but Iwasaki is in the mix there as well. Brilliant pictures from Dubai Autodrome. This circuit takes on a real characteristic of the dusk. It's a fascinating backdrop here at Dubai Autodrome. These guys really have to work hard in the light, because the sun is very low at this point of the day. Oh, and there's someone big blow up further back. Someone's blown the engine by the look of it. That's big smoke coming off the car. We need to have a look at what's going on up at that hairpin, because there is someone off the road with a big engine blow. And that, I'm afraid to say, looks to be Lorenzo Flusha. Oh, what does this guy have to do to catch a break? It's certainly one of the 3Y technology cars, that is for sure. So let's have a look at it. It comes off the corner, and all of a sudden, he knows it's happening. Bang! Nothing he can do about it. So that is bitter gall and disappointment. Now, I'm fairly sure that is one of the 3Y technology cars. Is that Lorenzo Flusha, or is that his teammate? I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to double check on it, but that's the worst way to retire from the race, because you're basically going to have an entire night of the mechanics sweating away trying to repair it, ready for race 2 tomorrow. So let's have a look and see. It's a red flag, I'm told. So the race has been stopped. Well, that is the second time this season that we have had a red flag. So obviously, because it's a big blow-up, the cars have been brought into the pits. The problem is, from that angle, I couldn't see. Oh no, that's Lorenzo Fluscia. So he is there in front of his opponent. It's not Pasma. I'm just trying to figure out which of the 3Y Technology cars it is that's ended up with a blown engine, because that is pretty bad stuff. I want to try and figure out who it is. Oh, it's Francesco Braschi. It's Francesco Braschi's car. It's not Fluscia, it is Braschi. So the new boy this weekend, Francesco Braschi, red flag conditions here at Dubai as Francesco Braschi's engine blows. I'd like to have another look at that, actually, because that is the incident that's brought out the red flag. So let's see if we can have a look at that situation again. Can we look at that on the replay once again of the red flag for Francesco Braschi? So the cars are in pit lane. So let's have a look. It's Francesco Braschi's car. It's a little further back in the pack. He comes through. He knows something's up. And as he pulls off, a big, big explosion from the back of the car. That's so, so rare. These Alfa Romeo engines are very robust. So it is a very tricky situation. So let's look over the highlights of the race so far so that we can pick up the story ready for the restart. Where's Jack Crawford? He's absolutely nowhere from the grid. He barely gets away at all. How everybody avoids him is pretty impressive. But now we've got Montoya around the outside of Isaac Ajar. He's so strong and so brave on the outside line there, just to hold his nerve. It was a great bit of racing from Sebastian Montoya. He knew that there'd be grip, but you obviously got to still basically roll up your sleeves and give it a go. And he knew he had to break the toe pretty quickly on Isaac Ajar, otherwise the Red Bull driver was going to be all over him. So Montoya just kept things nice and tidy in the opening couple of laps, and that was how he was able to pull a bit of a gap. And it's not a massive gap over Isaac Ajar, so he knows that on the restart, he's actually going to have to be very, very careful on the restart, because Ajar is going to put him under intense pressure from the get-go. So it will be very, very tricky from the restart. So we have been told that the race will restart under safety car conditions. So the race is going to restart under safety car conditions. It will not be a gridded formation on the start. They will be led out again. That's Jack Crawford in the middle of the pack trying to make a recovery. How far up the field has he actually got? Jack Crawford is actually up in 13th at the red flag, so that's a great recovery from Jack Crawford. He was down at about 24th in turn 1, so he's made massive progress. The American will obviously have been driving with the red mist because he didn't want to have such a bad start. So they do say you drive faster when you drive angry. And Jack Crawford is definitely driving his best. There's the incident that brought out the red flag as Francesco Braschi's car basically blows its top. So back to live pictures, and we can see the safety car driven by Katalin Wojciu. He is going to be driving them around on the new formation lap, but they will race under safety car conditions. They will start. There is Dynamite Dino, the Swedish talent. Always pleasant to see Dino Beganovic getting on. I've known him for a fair few years now in the world of racing, and in a world where money is king and power is paramount, it is wonderful to see a driver like Dino Beganovic, who comes from very humble beginnings, a very, very determined and talented racer, and he is making this world his own. And he absolutely and totally deserves his place in the Ferrari Drivers Academy. They are very fond of him, as are the Mumbai Falcons team. And there's a good chance for him here to get himself onto the podium. There is Arthur Leclerc, the championship leader. But for how much longer? Because Isaac Ajar is raining down on his parade. Ajar in 2nd and Leclerc in 6th at the time of the red flag. And that is going to decrease the gap between them in the championship fight from 12 points to 2 points. So Arthur Leclerc really needs to make progress in this race. There is Dilana Van Toft's car. And there is Lorenzo Fluscia. I'm sorry, Lorenzo. I thought it was you originally with the blown engine. But no, Lorenzo Fluscia is doing a fair job in this race. And it looks like he'll get a front row start for the grid tomorrow if he keeps this up. Now, I assumed that Pierre-Louis Chauvet was going to be starting this race on the restart from 10th place. But the car directly behind Lorenzo Fluscia is not a Black Arts. It's an Evans GP. That would suggest that's Michael Belov. So that is interesting. There's Jack Crawford. There's Patrick Pasma. So they're in the positions they're supposed to be in, ahead of Oliver Goethe. And then it should be Francesco Braschi, but of course his engine has blown. So the next car in should be Josh Dufek, but it is in fact Frederick Lubin. Lubin has actually got out of the car, as too has the number 7 of Josh Dufek. So the drivers have actually got out of their cars on the whole. Not everybody has. You can see they're still sat in the car. Ayato Iwasaki, the young Filipino driver. Of course, he races with a Japanese flag, but he also races under a Philippine license. That's the first time, really, I've seen him in action since his Miami Asia Cup days. This is the new boy, Owen Tanjavalu, and he is currently in front of Hamda Al-Kubaisi. Now, this is interesting because there are a few cars that are out of position based on the order when the red flag was flown. So, obviously, they're going to have to take a look at that and make sure that the cars are in the right position. Because certainly, behind Flusha is an Evans GP car and not a Black Arts. It should be the Black Arts of Pierre-Louis Chauvet, but that looks to me to be either Michael Belov or Nicola Marinangeli. So I'm not sure what that's going to mean for the restart, but that certainly means things are going to be a little bit interesting off the start. That is for sure. So let's get your questions. This is where we get the opportunity to have red flags. In the red flags, we get your questions come in. So great to have your presence on the stream. Daniel Scoos basically guesses that there's oil on track. That's exactly the reason why we're under red flags. A big engine blow like that, there's going to be oil deposited on the circuit at least 2 to 3 corners on the course. So you've got to sort that out. Back in the past, you would have let drivers go with that, and then a big accident would have occurred as drivers slide on the oil. So, you know what? We're not going to take the risk. These are drivers' lives. They have to still go home to their loved ones and dear ones. Yes, this is show business. Yes, this is entertainment. But at the same time, we don't want to run the gauntlet and play chicken with people's lives. So we're going to play the safe card. So Abhinav Krishnakumar asks, is the timing going to be stopped? Yes, it is. Unfortunately, this is an automatic timing system, so it only resets when the race restarts. So even though the timer is ticking down to 0 on your screen, in actuality, there is going to be 14 minutes and 44 seconds to go, and that will reset when we start racing. There is Joshua Dufek of the High-Tech GP team. He's had a fantastic season here in the United Arab Emirates. He did a brilliant job in the opening race weekend in Yas Marina, and it's gone on since then. Patrick Pasma getting himself ready for the restart here in the Evans GP team. So the more questions coming in, and it's very, very interesting to see what people are asking. When is the race starting again, says Ryan Ali? Well, it'll start when we are cleaned and ready to go. I can't really give you any information until I get it on the positions. So let's talk you through the who's who of the sport. Patrick Pasma, race winner last year in the Evans GP team. Leonardo Fornaroli, who's been incredibly strong this weekend and has really started to get the handle of his high-tech GP car. Red Bull young gun Isaac Hajar, the French-Algerian, who's been very strong. Joshua Dufek, very impressive performance from him so far for the high-tech team. Thomas Luedi, one of the Masters drivers, the Swiss-Chinese ace, doing a fantastic job for the Black Arts Racing team. And then there is Levente Rebej, the Hungarian. He is part of the Evans GP Academy squad, fresh out of karting, and doing a great job for the Evans GP squad. Nicola Marinangeli, who is in the senior team, and doing an excellent job, the Italian, putting on a fantastic display so far. Oliver Goethe, the talented young star in the Gulf colours, looking for another strong performance from him. Lorenzo Flusha, what a great performance he has been, the Spanish driver, and a very excellent performer so far in this season. Hadrian David, sadly not here with us this weekend, but certainly part of the fold and second in the championship at this point. Francesco Braschi, the new face on the starting grid this weekend, and sadly he is the driver that's just retired. Gabriel Bortoletto is the man he replaced, and he took a race victory at Yas Marina. Pepe Marti, the Spanish talent. What a performance from him. He is the leading rookie in the points at this moment. Pierre-Louis Chauvet, welcome back to the big show. 7 months out of a racing car and back in Formula Regional Asia. Delano Van Toff sat out race 1 due to illness, but he is going to be pole position for race 3 tomorrow. Watch out for him. Michael Belov, great return to the Formula Regional Asia campaign after 2 race seasons away. And Salih Yalouch, one of the Masters drivers. Watch out for him. He was the one who took the win off of Khaled El-Kubaisi at Yas Marina in the first weekend of the season. Jack Crawford, disappointing start to this one, but the American will be fighting for race wins throughout the course of the season for Abu Dhabi Racing by PREMA. David Morales, one of the newest faces. He is also in the Evans GP Academy team. Expect the rookie to make progress throughout his swan song season. Frederick Lubin, the British talent, great to see him in Formula Regional Asia, and he is making big progress every time he heads out onto the course. Owen Tanjavelu is the new face here this weekend, and in car 92, the high-tech driver should be very spectacular indeed. And the last one in the mix, well, we're going to have some more profiles hopefully over the course of the weekend. We'll show you them if we need to, but obviously that is over the red flag period. So we're under red flags due to a engine blow, a spectacular engine blow for Francesco Braschi. So we just have to wait and figure out how things are. Varun Nair asks, any idea why the Mumbai Falcons seem to lack the pace around the Dubai Autodrome? Well, that's an interesting question, and I don't think you can really say that they lack pace when Sebastian Montoya is leading the race and got pole position in qualifying, so I would say that's a little bit of a naive opinion, and if you don't mind me saying so, because they've definitely shown pace. All 3 of their cars are in the top 6, which is all you can really ask of a team with 3 cars. It's very tough to run at the front end of the field, and you can't expect them to run 1, 2 and 3 domination style every race. They're doing everything that they possibly can. Certainly from one race to the next, we've seen that it's not just Mumbai Falcons that has differentiated in terms of 1 lap pace from Q1 to Q2. All the teams are struggling with it. It's not just a one-team problem. It's very much something that the entirety of the field has been struggling from. So, your Scott says, who is your championship winner prediction? Now, this is the ultimate £1 million question, isn't it? Because essentially, this comes down to one key element. Consistency. The only guy who's going to walk away with this championship is the one who can bag as many strong top 5 finishes as humanly possible. We've had a mixture of race winners so far this year. Gabriel Bortoletto, Gabriele Mini and Hadrian David have between them won 4 of the 6 races, and none of them are racing this weekend. So that becomes then a fight about consistency. Who can get as many top 5 finishes as humanly possible? So it's definitely going to be a very interesting battle. Now, for those who are wondering about the time, because I know there's quite a few people asking about the time ticking down, and it's going to count down to 0 to the left of your screen. Don't panic about that, because when we restart, that time will reset itself, and we will have 14 minutes and 44 seconds still left of this race. So it literally will be a race of 2 halves, because we ended up with the red flags basically flying at the halfway point. So it really is going to be very, very interesting. So the battles are very, very interesting. Do keep those questions coming. We'll keep chatting away. As much as I get irritated by a red flag period as much as you do, it does give me an opportunity to banter with you all and figure out some of the key questions that we can answer that we wouldn't normally have time to during race coverage. So it is absolutely fascinating to see how it is going to go. But this is a very different race circuit to what we saw from Yas Marina 2 weeks ago. In fact, this particular layout, the Grand Prix layout, is very different compared to the International. It has many of the same corners, but the ebb and flow of that first sector, where you add an additional 4 or 5 corners to the lap, actually makes the whole lap change, because you have to basically factor the data of the tyre pressures and the aerodynamic positions of the wings, rear and front, and how you basically set up the car. All has to take those first 5 corners into account. So you have to try and decide, essentially, do you go for raw speed or do you go for mechanical grip? You lose out big time in the 2 long straights, but through the corners you actually gain a massive amount of momentum. And that's always where the balancing act comes. So there is one of the PREMA drivers. I'm fairly sure that was Amna Al-Kubaisi, although someone's going to correct me, I'm sure. But very difficult to tell when you couldn't see the name on the helmet, but the helmet designs are very similar with the Al-Kubaisi family. There is the very, very talented Amna Al-Kubaisi. There we go. Picked her up in the end as she gets herself ready for the action in front. And it really is going to be a tough race when we get started again. Now, Fatima Ahmed has a really interesting and intelligent question here. How does the Masters Championship work? Even if you don't get in the top 10, do you score points? Very good point. Now, there are 3 drivers in the Masters category: Khaled Al-Kubaisi, Salih Yalouch, and Thomas Luedi. Now, they are the Masters category based on being slightly older in age than the other drivers in the field, and they run to their own championship within a championship. And it works very similarly to how the Rookie Cup works. You score points in the Rookie Cup, which are separate to the Drivers' Championship. So there are 2 other championships going on at the same time as the overall Drivers' Championship and the Teams' Championship. So that is obviously something that has to be taken into consideration as well. And they score points based on who is the first one across the line of the 3 drivers. That's how it works in the Masters Championship. Hamda Al-Kubaisi there getting herself ready for the action. There was a board being held up at the end of the pit lane, which does give us a bit of an indication that hopefully we are not going to be waiting too long for the restart. What did that board say? I couldn't quite see what it said. That's annoying. Farhan K has a good question again here. How hot is it and how do they keep cool in the heat? Well, it's interesting because this particular race isn't particularly hot, because now that the sun has come down, it gets cold here really very quickly. You've got to remember that this is February, and even in Dubai, in February, once the sun goes down, it gets very cold very quickly. The temperature drops by about 7 to 8 degrees really rather rapidly. So they are not having to worry about the heat at this stage of the day. The biggest problem is that obviously with it being so late in the evening, if we are delayed too long, they're not going to be able to see where they're going because it's not floodlit like it is at Yas Marina. So they've got to be very careful that we start racing at all. Otherwise, we may have to reschedule and do the race tomorrow. So that's a little bit of an interesting one. So that's obviously going to be an interesting consideration as well. We need to get the race started soon, otherwise there won't be any light to play with. Now, once we go to the UAE Pro Car Championship race after this one, that won't be a major concern because they'll all have headlights. But here in the Formula Regional Asian Championship, they don't. Joshua Dufek, helmet on, ready to go battling again. Great performance so far from his 3 weekends. This is going to be his last in the championship before he focuses on his campaign in Europe, whatever that may be. We have not had any announcements yet from Joshua Dufek as to what his race program is going to consist of, but knowing him, I'm sure it's going to be very competitive indeed. There is Frederick Lubin getting himself ready to go once again. So the competition is going to be very interesting all the way throughout once again. And the drivers will obviously want to put on an excellent display and put on a show in this second part of the season, because we are almost at the halfway point of the championship now. 15 races in total, and this is race 7 of the championship. So this is almost the halfway point in the season now. So the competitors obviously getting themselves ready. And just to clarify, to answer that, Fatima Ahmed, do the Masters Championship contenders get 1, 2 and 3 podiums? Yes, they do. There is a separate podium ceremony for the drivers in the Masters Championship, which they do adhere to. The rookie driver gets the rookie winning trophy, but most of the races this season, the rookie has ended up on the podium overall. So looking at the body language of the teams and the drivers are suited and booted and getting into their cars once again, so I do not think it's going to be too long before we are racing once again. The lights have come on the grandstand here on the start-finish line, but now we are in a proper race against the sunlight here, which is an unusual situation to be in. It is coming up to, well, it's coming up to 5:30 local time, so on paper we're going to have another 27 minutes of sunlight, so we really do need to get this race started pretty sharpish. But this is a fabulous battle that's going to rejoin, and what a city to do it in as well. The Dubai Autodrome, a fabulous place to go racing. What a city. What a place to go racing. The board is going up at the end of the pit lane as we get ourselves ready to go. 5 minutes to race start. There we go. That's good to get an indication as to how long it's going to be. So it's not going to be too long that you're going to be waiting for the race action to get started once again. Your patience is very much appreciated. And the racing is going to be very, very tight. So as we continue our build-up, we are going to continue to prepare for the race restart for the second half of this race.
Keep your eyes out on Mumbai Falcon.
Some interesting stuff coming up.
Look forward to racing to the future.
We are about to go racing for the second half of race 1, round 3 of the Formula Regional Asian Championship 2022 here at the Dubai Autodrome. And as you can see, the light is fading fast. Jake Sanson here. We are under red flag conditions after a spectacular engine failure for Francesco Braschi, which brought out the red flags due to a big oil spill out on the circuit. So as you can see, the contenders have been getting themselves ready. Even the F4 UAE drivers have been keeping an eye on the action here in Formula Regional Asia, trying to see what's been going on. You can see the obviously the bodywork for the cars that are being ready to play out. Diana Ciccone-Jackson answers the question that was asked earlier on about how many super license points are available to the driver that wins the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Well researched, Diana, because the answer is 18. That's how many super license points they get for completing and winning the championship. And as Sialafred Herm points out, halfway through the championship is when race 8 is in the middle. So 15 minutes into race 8, we are exactly the halfway point of the season. So in race 2, round 2 tomorrow, when we are 15 minutes in, that is the halfway point in the season. And Briesh Joshi points out that the hairpins will become very tricky with fading lights, especially when you consider that the light will be very low from the sun. And that is going to take a very interesting change up of things. All mobile gaming. Voice is something that I think we all would agree with in the ideal situation. He wants to see this championship happening all over different racetracks across Asia. No, I completely agree. I totally understand where your standpoint is. Formula Regional Asia Championship should be in multiple countries around Asia. The only reason we are in the United Arab Emirates for the entirety of 5 weeks back-to-back is 2 words: COVID-19. That's the only reason. It's logistically a better situation for us to have all of the races in one country. Unfortunately, the United Arab Emirates has lower restrictions and 2 full-class, world-class quality race circuits that we can compete on, since it was the natural choice. Once the pandemic lifts and finally fades away, I'm hoping, as well as everybody else is, that the Formula Regional Asian Championship can revert to the format it was before the world pandemic. Mind you, there's nothing to stop this kind of format working in other countries in the future. Perhaps you could do a 5-week straight stretch in Japan. You could do a 5-week straight stretch in China. You could do a 5-week straight stretch in India. There's all sorts of countries with amazing circuits that could host the Formula Regional Asian Championship. So the format could stay the same, but the country of location could well change over the course of the years. I've certainly been speaking with the championship coordinators of Formula Regional Asia about this and said, is this something that could happen in other countries in a similar format? They said, never say never. So it's clearly something that they've thought about as well. We are going racing again now as the cars get themselves back onto the circuit once again. And as you can see, it is ridiculously dark by comparison to what we had at the start of the race, and the light was fading fast anyway. So hopefully we are going to be able to get through this 14 minutes of racing without too much incident. But obviously we are very much running the gauntlet here. If this was Yas Marina, it perhaps wouldn't be so big a problem, because obviously the circuit is floodlit, so all they would do is just whack the generators on, light the circuit up, and we would have a brilliant night race, which I think we are planning to have at Yas Marina for the final race weekend of the season. We will hopefully have a night race then, which will be very exciting, most likely on the Friday evening at Yas Marina. That's the plan, because obviously we're also sharing the circuit with the Asian Le Mans series, and they will obviously go from dusk to night in both of the races on the Saturday and Sunday respectively. So the hope and the ambition is that on Friday evening at Yas Marina we will hopefully be able to have a night race, because it's always a very special part of the race weekend. As you can see, certain camera views show you a little bit more variations in terms of light than others, so they can actually see a fair amount out of the cars, but it is going to be a challenge. There's no two ways about it. All they have to do is catch the sun at the wrong angle, and it is going to be a very tricky situation. As ads876689 points out on YouTube, the track is very well lit. It might be okay. Well, as long as nothing major happens, then I think we should be. But as Shravan Hajmadi points out, is there a possibility to stop the race due to bad light? If it's too big a problem, then yes, it will be. It's as simple as that. So we just have to wait and see how things progress. But obviously the championship coordinators and the stewards are going to do their very best to make sure we get to the full race distance, but the safety of the driver is paramount. So if it gets too dark, if it gets too silly, if it gets too unreasonable, then obviously we will revert back. Now, as you can see, the time has started to tick down. It's had to do that based on the fact that we are obviously losing the light quickly. So we have had to knock off a couple of minutes on the timer, but we have also had to start the countdown from the restart in its current position. So there are 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and it is going to be Montoya from the restart, and he's gone for it. Here we go. Hajar got caught out, big style. That is the perfect restart for Sebastian Montoya. He couldn't really have asked for any better. Hajar is caught out. Fornaroli and Beganovic boxed in, and away we go. Green, 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 and Sebastian Montoya tries to break the toe from Isaac Hajar, and we are racing for the last 9 minutes of race 1, round 3. So the battle down the straight, as Arthur Leclerc has a go at Paul Aron. He's actually going to be level with him as they go to turn 1. Can Leclerc go right round the outside? Aron is going to try and squeeze him. Leclerc will go the long way round, and he's through. Brilliant pass from Arthur Leclerc. Absolutely fantastic. That is exactly how it should be. What a brilliant battle. That was absolutely amazing. So terrific stuff, sensational as the battles continue. And Arthur Leclerc has got past Paul Aron to move up into 5th position. A great restart from the Monegasque. So now he is up another position, and that will definitely give him an extra couple of points in the championship battle. That gets him a little bit closer to Isaac Hajar. So now the Mumbai Falcons are ahead of the two high-techs. Well, it's Mumbai Falcons, high-tech, Mumbai Falcons, PREMA. And then in 7th place, Pepe Marti is now trying to take on Paul Aron. Side by side, Marti's going to go for it. And there's a battle further back as Jack Crawford tries to shake off the Evans cars. Big lock-up from Marti, I think that was, as the Evans cars are trying to shake out through with Josh Dufek. Dufek gets a great run out of the hairpin. He could get an overtaking move here on one of the Blackhearts cars, I think that is, as Paul Aron is still trying to shake off Pepe Marti. Marti is going to try and get the switchback maneuver out of the hairpin here and draw level with Paul Aron. Meanwhile, Montoya, despite his perfect start, has not been able to pull away from Isaac Hajar as he had wanted, and now the Colombian is under pressure from Isaac Hajar. Hajar is throwing 7 bells at every apex, and he's catching up to the Colombian very rapidly. So this is going to be very tricky as they come off the turn, but Montoya is going to have to soak up the pressure that he's got here from Isaac Hajar. And as they continue on their way, they come across the line once more. Montoya leads from Hajar in 2nd place. Then it is Fornaroli. Beganovic in 4th. Leclerc is now 5th ahead of Marti and Aron. So Marti did get past Aron with a spectacular overtaking move. 8th is Dilano Vantov. 9th is Lorenzo Flusha. And then Pierre-Louis Chauvet in 10th place ahead of Belov, Crawford, Pasmar, Marinangeli, Goethe and Josh Dufek ahead of Ayato Iwasaki and Frederick Lubin. So Sebastian Montoya is just going to try and soak up the pressure of this now. This is a very different game compared to what we saw from him at Yas Marina. He didn't have to cope with a red flag last time. He did have to cope with 2 safety car periods, but this is very different. The track will have changed completely since earlier on. The temperatures will have dropped dramatically, and so where there was grip before, there might not be any grip at all in certain parts of the course, and they've got to balance that out. There's not long to go. 7 minutes 45 on the clock. A bit of a run wide there out of the turn from one of the 3 wides. That's probably going to be Lorenzo Flusha, who is there in 9th place. Pierre-Louis Chauvet is still looking for pole position in race 2 by finishing P10. Fornaroli defending from Beganovic. Beganovic is not able to get the move. If I'm Michael Belov, I will never have been more determined to get past anybody than I am to get past Pierre-Louis Chauvet right now, because Chauvet is in position to try and get that pole position for race 2. If he can finish P10, Michael Belov, then on his return to Formula Regional Asia, he will get a 10th place finish. Somebody ran wide there out of 11. I didn't see who that was, but certainly there was an incident and somebody ended up going right off the track at turn 11. I think they managed to get back on again, but certainly they will have lost a lot of momentum and a lot of ground. And as the Mumbai Falcon twins of Dino Beganovic and Arthur Leclerc start to reel in Leonardo Fornaroli, this could end up working out in their favour. Fornaroli is struggling to hold them off. And as we complete lap 10, we are going to have 6 minutes and 40 on the clock as they come across the line. A lock-up from Beganovic. He doesn't need that. Out of the turn and down the straight. Montoya, Hajar, Fornaroli, Beganovic, Leclerc, Marti, Aron, Vantov, Chauvet. Beganovic is trying to take his teammate Leclerc along for the ride, but he doesn't want him to overtake. Leclerc has got a championship to win, and he doesn't want to go into his teammate. They've got to be very careful about this. Fornaroli making a little bit of a fumble on the exit of turn 1, and this could be the moment for Beganovic. He knows it. Dynamite Dino is going to try and make his bid as he comes through on Leonardo Fornaroli. They come through the very tight and twisty section on the first sector. Fornaroli has got to control the rear wheel spin. He's got to make sure that the car is fairly planted as he comes through. Into the left-hander. Through the banking. Leclerc going with them. Montoya and Hajar have pulled clear. Fornaroli trying to succumb. This could be very tight. So we're going to see if there is an issue with a penalty. Yes, there are two cars, that have been given penalties as Leclerc is going to battle with his teammate, Dino Beganovic. They come down to the braking zone. And Beganovic manages to hang on. Oh! There are 5 seconds being added to the cars in second and third. Hajar and Fornaroli are being given 5 seconds penalties. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. And I'm sure it'll come to light after the race, but essentially that means that if the race finishes as it is going to be the impossible dream for the Mumbai Falcons. They will finish 1, 2, 3. That is absolutely incredible. All of a sudden, Hajar and Fornaroli are going to be in dire straits here. They've both got 5-second penalties. I have no idea what for. It hasn't come up on the timing screen as to why. But if they get penalised and it ends like this, then Hajar and Fornaroli will fall behind the Mumbai Falcons and the team will swamp the podium 1, 2 and 3 in the most unbelievable result for the team. So Hajar is going to cost himself 5 seconds. That's going to drop him behind Pepe Marti, unless they can start to pull out the gap. The Mumbai Falcons need to work together here. They need to close in on Fornaroli. Meanwhile, Paul Aron is battling away to hold off Dilano Vanthoff. Vanthoff is looking quite a threat now. And there's Paul Aron working his way through the first sector. Oh my goodness, this is going to come down to the aggregates on the timing screen by the look of it. But for some reason, I don't know why, but 5-second penalties have been awarded to Isaac Hajar and Leonardo Fornaroli, the 2 high-techs. Now, as soon as I find out why, I will, of course, let you know. But I don't have the reason as to why. All it is the message that's come up on the timing screen. And that will mean that the Mumbai Falcons will finish 2nd and 3rd. So we are told that the reason for the 5-second penalties being handed out to Isaac Hajar and Leonardo Fornaroli is down to the start of the race, the original race start. Apparently, both cars were slightly out of their position on the starting grid. Now, that is very dramatic indeed, and that means essentially that it could end up finishing as a 1, 2, 3 for the Mumbai Falcons. That is absolutely unheard of. But are we going to see it? And how much time are they going to have to make up the ground? That is the big difficulty. So let's see how it all works out. Let's see how this plays out, because it is now 3 minutes and 20 seconds left of the race. So that is 2 laps by my maths. 2 laps of racing to go at the end of this one. Look how dark it's getting in the final corner. Fornaroli is third, but he's not going to be there at the end of the race if it finishes like this. Bogdanovic is going to be elevated to second, and Leclerc is going to be elevated to third. We'll have to look at the timing screens to see how much time Montoya and Hajar lose. Now, ultimately, Montoya wants to back Hajar into Fornaroli here for the team battle to guarantee Mumbai Falcons a 1-2-3. He doesn't want to pull too far away. Oh, and that's into the wall. That's Thomas Luedi. Thomas Luedi's gone into the wall. Now, if that's in a dangerous position, that could be a safety car, and that would guarantee it. So Thomas Luedi has gone into the wall. Not sure exactly where that is. I wonder if that's on the start-finish line. So Thomas Luedi has gone into the wall. That's camera 6, so that is on the far side of the course. As Luedi climbs out, he's okay. Now, is he in a dangerous position? Are we going to go to safety cars? We've got a yellow flag down there, so let's have a look at it, because we've got a replay of what happened. So let's have a look. Luedi is battling with Sally Yaluch. They're going to bang wheels here. Oh, he's got water coming off the car. Something's gone very badly wrong. And now he's going to lock wheels. Oh, no, 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 no. That is a carbon copy of what we saw in the F4 UAE Pro Car race earlier on. And that's Thomas Luedi having spun off the road. So, are we going to see the race end under safety cars, or is it going to be waved yellows? I think it's going to be waved yellows. It doesn't look like we're getting a safety car. A side by side. Paul Aron is now battling with Delano Van Toff. Van Toff is going to try and take a position away from Paul Aron. Pierre-Louis Chauvet is now currently in 9th place, and Michael Beloff is up to 10th. That is going to give him pole position for tomorrow's race 2, because the top 10 will be reverse gridded. So Luedi is out of the car, but the car doesn't look too badly damaged, and it is out of harm's way. Last lap on a checkered flag. Checkered flag, we're out of time. Sebastian Montoya takes the flag. Second is going to be Leclerc in front of Bogdanovic. I think they've done it. I think they've done it with the 5-second penalties added to Hajar and Fornaroli. I think it is going to be a Mumbai Falcons 1-2-3. It is! It is! Montoya is going to have it from Leclerc and Bogdanovic. When the penalties are added, Hajar drops to 5th and Fornaroli drops to 9th. It is a fairy tale finish for the Mumbai Falcons. They will be 1, 2 and 3, with Sebastian Montoya taking his 2nd win of the season, and Arthur Leclerc, who is going to lose his lead in the championship, is now going to increase it in 2nd place. Oh my goodness, what a finish, what a finish. And it is the dream result for Mumbai Falcons drivers. They will be 1, 2 and 3. The clean sweep of the podium. The drivers may not even know that right now. There's the provisional result, but Isaac Hajar and Leonardo Fornaroli are going to be penalised. It will end up being Montoya from Leclerc, Bogdanovic, and then it will be Isaac Hajar. He will drop to 4th. Hajar will drop to 5th behind Pepe Marti. Paul Aron will be 6th. Van Toff will be 7th. Pierre-Louis Chauvet will be 8th. Fornaroli will drop to 9th and will there be on the front row of the grid for tomorrow's race. But 10th place and pole position for race 2 tomorrow will be Michael Belov. What a dramatic end as the light pretty much disappears. Mumbai Falcons, it's just sunk in that their cars are going to be 1, 2 and 3. There's Moitunga car embracing the PREMA mechanics. I think it's just sunk in. They haven't just won. They haven't just come 1, 2. They have come 1, 2, 3. Magic. They came into this weekend. They came into this season. There is Amit and Moid. The scenes of partying down in the pits have begun. And this will be felt all the way throughout India, all the way throughout Asia. The team cannot believe it. They are 1, 2, 3. That is a fairy tale. When they got their first win in Yas Marina, they were delighted. When they got their 1-2 last week here in Dubai, they were ecstatic. Now, this party tonight is going to be of biblical proportions. What a drive from Dino Beganovic. He comes through in third. Another podium for him. Second place is going to be Arthur Leclerc, who extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship as a result of that. What a result for Arthur Leclerc. Get ready to take this picture, because I have a feeling this one's going to be framed on Moy Tungaka's wall. Here comes Sebastian Montoya. It's Montoya, Leclerc, Beganovic. The ultimate podium party in race 1, round 3, and the Mumbai Falcons conquer all. You would not have predicted that coming into this race. One of them getting a victory would have been nice. Another one of them getting on the podium would have been brilliant. But for all three of them to get there, that is astonishing and delightful. What a result. This is only the second year of competition for the Mumbai Falcons, and they have just clean swept the podium. Remember where you were, February 5th, 2022. The Mumbai Falcons are coming to take over the motorsport world. Massive, massive. That is such an achievement. For Montoya, it's a second race win. For Arthur Leclerc, it's another podium and an increase of his championship lead. And for Dino Beganovic, it's a second visit to the podium this season. Wow. Just wow. What a spectacular result. And the scenes down there is just party time. Absolute party time. A great congratulations there from Khaled Al-Kubaisi, who takes Masters win number 6 this year out of 7 starts. Excellent performance once again from Khaled Al-Kubaisi in the Masters race. Incident between Sally Yaluch and Thomas Luedi is under investigation, we are told. But how about that? Connie Montoya embraces son Sebastian. And I'm sure wherever he is in training for his IndyCar campaign, Juan Pablo Montoya is a very happy man indeed. The scenes down here are of joy. There is Khaled Al-Kubaisi, the winner of the Masters race. And of course, Sebastian Montoya is the winner of the Rookie Cup, as well as the winner overall. A very exhausted Dino Beganovic. There's Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He's down there with Sebastian Montoya, having just got out of the F4 UAE car race himself. What a party. Look at that picture. That one's going to get framed, isn't it? That's going to go on the Mumbai Falcons wall. 1, 2, 3. You could not have predicted that going into this race. And I did say to them over the weekend, what do you think your chances are of doing this? And in all honesty, when I spoke to Amit, when I spoke to Moyd, they said, oh, I'm not sure. I just don't think it's possible. It'll be a bit of a mystery if we can, a bit magical. But Ridhima Patak is down there, and she is going to embrace and talk to all 3 of the podium finishers from the Mumbai Falcons. Dino Beganovic, Arthur Leclerc, and the race winner, Sebastian Montoya. Ridhima is down there. Well, we are told there's going to be a slight pause while we get ready for the 3 drivers down there. And hopefully now we can hear from Ridhima Patak and the 3 Mumbai Falcons who have swept the podium. Well, we will get the reaction from the Mumbai Falcons before they head to the pit lane. A dramatic scene here at the end of the last race of the day here in Dubai Autodrome. I think we will still have the UAE Pro Car race, which will be under floodlights. So, let's go down to the pits where Ridhima Patak is with the Mumbai Falcon trio.
And here we have the Mumbai Falcons taking on not 1, not 2, not 3, all 3 of them rather. Here we have the man Sebastian taking on number 1, and of course both of them, Arthur Leclerc and Dino Bogdanovic. I'm going to start with you, Sebastian. I asked you, every time you take the pole position, you definitely get the win. What is the secret behind that?
Yeah, honestly, in Yas, it was just pure speed, and honestly, it was quite good. Last week we struggled to get that, but I finished P3 and I got a podium out of it. And this week it was difficult. We were struggling a bit and we just worked really hard, and honestly I'm so happy right now. That last lap was crazy. I thought he was going to get me, but it was so much fun, and honestly I can't say thank you enough to the team and to these guys. It's been so much fun.
All I can tell you is that we are very, very happy along with you. You can give us a smile.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good podium starting from P6. Yeah, a bit disappointing qualifying, but yeah, we have to keep working. It's not where we want to be still, but yeah, we still got 2 races more.
Well, there you are on the podium. Arthur, how tough did it get? Because there was a lot of drama right there in that race. You also had a red flag incident with the safety conditions, with the weather going down. What were the challenges like?
I mean, it was difficult. It was a difficult race. I mean, I'm quite happy. I did a good start, and the pace was really good, so I can be happy with that. Then this morning, yeah, I was just a bit struggling in the tires, with the tires in Q1, and then Q2 I managed to put a lap together, but there is still 7 tenths to find. So I mean, we are working on it. I mean, we don't fully understand the tires, but it's okay. We are working on it, and yeah, I'm happy about the P2 today, because from P8 was really good.
That's right. Now, as a team, of course, you guys have a lot to celebrate. The Mumbai Falcons are definitely flying high in this particular championship. 1, 2, 3 goes to one team. What did your team owner right there say to you the moment you got won? Because I saw you guys celebrate.
Let's go. That's the only thing I heard.
I see that it's a bit censored. I see that. But what are you guys going to do tonight?
Well, no. No. Sleep and rest for tomorrow.
Oh, nice. That's a very good answer. They're going to rest and prepare for tomorrow. But, well, congratulations, guys, and congratulations to the team as a whole. Keep up the good work. Thank you, guys. Back to you, Jake.
Thank you, Ridhima. There's going to be a big party atmosphere down here in the pits for the podium ceremony. There's been a bit of a history with Indian motorsport that's been building over the last few seasons. The first Indian Formula One team, Force India, that did a fantastic job from 2008 all the way through till the 2019 season. They got a various crop of race wins, battles in podiums and all what have you. They did a fantastic job. There was the Indian Grand Prix from 2011 to 2013. But this is the start of a new era. They've been very, very clear right from the start of the Mumbai Falcons project. We want to put India on the motorsport map. We want the world to know what Indians can do in motorsport. It's a sport that's new for them. It's basically been a sport in a country. India is very much a country about its cricket, about its kabaddi, about its international disciplines of sport. Motorsport, it's kind of taken a back seat. It's only really the likes of Narayan Karthikeyan, Arman Ibrahim and Karun Chandok who have really put India on the map in motorsport. With this team, anything is possible. They just keep smashing targets and breaking their own records and achievements. This is absolutely fantastic. And I do believe in this momentous occasion for the Mumbai Falcons race team that Ridhima is actually down there with the team principal. I'm fairly sure that Ridhima is down there with Amit. With Moy Tungakar, my apologies. So I think she is there with Moy Tungakar.
Well, the Mumbai Falcons definitely are a very, very happy team. Actually, I should say it thrice, because 1, 2, 3, all three of them. I've got with me the CEO of Mumbai Falcons, Mohit. What does this mean to the team?
Oh, it's a dream that this year, and yeah, we've achieved. So great drive from all the contestants, everybody involved, all the athletes. Fantastic crews in the background. What more can I say? We just keep fighting all the way to the end, and hopefully we'll get good results going forward as well.
That's right. And if you talk about the race in itself, I thought the race was really, really dramatic, and that was a very dramatic finish. You had a red flag incident. Of course, you had safety car conditions, and then, of course, the temperatures were differing. Talk me through what were the emotions that the team were going through while the race was on.
Well, everything was still tense all the way to the end. And, you know, you never know till everybody crosses the finish line what the result's going to be. So we were all at the edge of our seats, and well, the result came in favor today. That's that.
Where is the party tonight?
There's a not on race weekend.
Well, I hope all the drivers from the Mumbai Falcons heard that loud and clear. Well, that's what exactly the drivers also said. Thank you so much and congratulations. Celebrate tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
So, fantastic stuff so far here at the Formula Regional Asian Championship at the Dubai Autodrome circuit. It really has been a spectacular start to the race weekend for the Mumbai Falcons team. I don't think any of them thought coming into this race that they would get a 1, 2, 3 result on the podium. That is quite spectacular. So we will join them on the podium for their fabulous celebration. Who would have thought it? Sebastian Montoya, Arthur Leclerc and Dino Beganovic sweeping the podium for the Mumbai Falcons racing team. And I know that the boffins have already taken to the internet to update the championship points. So Arthur Leclerc now takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship with 91 points ahead of Sebastian Montoya, who is up to second on 78. Third is now Isaac Hajar on 71. Pepe Marti is on 66. Hadrian David is on 64. Dino Beganovic is on 63. And in the Teams' Championship, you'll never guess who's leading. It's Mumbai Falcons, 5 points ahead of High Tech Grand Prix now. What a battle this is. A very proud man, Moy Tungakar. What an achievement. 3 races this weekend, and in the very first of them, in the third round of the championship, in their second year of competition in Formula Regional Asia, they've come away with a 1, 2, 3. Imagine what this is going to do for the team. Imagine what this is going to do for the sport in India. Formula Regional India is taking place in November of this year. That is going to be a game changer for the sport of motor racing in the country. A very, very proud team down there. What an achievement. Moy Tungakar pointing out that they don't party on race weekends. I bet the party tomorrow night's going to be pretty epic though. What an achievement. I'm trying to remember the last time that a team actually swept all 3 positions on the podium of the Formula Regional Asian Championship race. I can't remember the last time that one team took all 3 positions on a podium. That is absolutely spectacular. And what a way to go into the second half of the season as Arthur Leclerc increases his championship lead. There we go. The party starts here, folks, in India and all over Asia as well. Onto the podium goes Dynamite Dino in 3rd position. Arthur Leclerc finds his way to 2nd position on the podium. And on the top spot, it will be Sebastian Montoya of Colombia. All 3 drivers from the Mumbai Falcons racing team eclipse the podium. It's a fairy tale. It's a happy ending to race 1, round 3. If you want to know what a motor racing fairy tale looks like, we just witnessed it. Mumbai Falcons 1, 2 and 3 in the first race of the weekend. There'll be more racing tomorrow in races 2 and 3. Enjoy and join us again tomorrow when the action returns to the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Your rookie winner and your race winner, Sebastian Montoya, as he leads the Mumbai Falcons trio home to eclipse the podium. Will they do it again in race 2? Tune in tomorrow to find out.